You're welcome, children. This is yet our lesson of social studies. You'll recall that we dealt with the traders in the other lesson, but also we had an activity of section A, which you wrote and we said corrections. Let's hope you were there with the corrections and you marked yourselves right. We shall yet set another paper to have section B, that's from number 41 up to 55. So let's start on this lesson. Today we want to talk about traders. As we talked about last time, we discussed traders. But what kind of traders are we discussing this time? This time we're discussing traders from Europe, therefore European traders in Africa. And when we're discussing European traders in Africa, we mean companies that traded here. They were actually companies. So when we say traders for this lesson, we're meaning European traders in Africa. We're also meaning trading companies in Africa. We're equally meaning chartered companies. So when we say trading companies, we're also meaning chartered companies. We call them chartered companies because they were given charters, they were given permits, they were given permissions to trade here in Africa. So we call them chartered companies. So what do you want to learn about these companies? What were these companies? Let's see what these companies were, the founders, and other related issues. Let's carry on. The chartered companies here, we have said were given charters, were given letters of introduction, were given permits, were given permissions. So let's see these companies as they were here in Africa. Here is a table that is indicating the companies, the founders or the leaders, the regions of operation or where they operated within Africa, then their countries of origin. The first two companies, we talked about them earlier on. The first company here, IBEACO, you discussed it in the P5 class. In P6, you discussed both IBEACO and GECO. So this IBEACO, this is GECO. Who was the founder of IBEACO? It was William Macnon. But within this, remember other issues such as F.D. Lugard, who was a representative of IBEACO. Then region of operation was East Africa. The country of origin was Britain. Here we have GECO, that's Germany East Africa Company. The founder was Karl Peters. Operation East Africa, basically in Tanganyika, that is today Tanzania. Then the country of origin is Germany. BSA or BSSC, this is British South Africa Company or British South Africa. The founder was Cecil Rhodes and region of operation was Southern Africa. The areas of South Africa, areas of Rhodesia, by then it was Rhodesia, Northern Rhodesia and Southern Rhodesia. Northern Rhodesia is today Zambia and Southern Rhodesia is today Zimbabwe. That name Rhodesia came from the owner of the company, Rhodes. So BSA was a British company, so the country of origin is Britain. We also have RNC, this Royal Niger Company, Royal Niger Company. The leader was George Goldie, and it operated in West Africa, and it was also a British company. So why do you think these companies were interested in coming here in Africa? Let's see that in the next slide. Why European traders came to Africa? So when we talk of traders in here, we're meaning trading companies. So why did they come? To get market for their home goods. You realize that the word market I've put in some way, I shall discuss ahead. To get raw materials for their home industries. Next, to invest their surplus capital, same as to get land for investment. Then, we also discover that you can also have to promote legitimate trade. This also promoted legitimate trade, or it was formed to promote legitimate trade. Also, besides legitimate trade, we had discussed legitimate trade in the other lessons of trade. So besides legitimate trade, to defend their country's colonial interests in Africa. Their countries of origin had colonial interests in Africa. So these people defended their colonial interests here in Africa. Then to rule colonies on behalf of their governments, on behalf of their countries. So those are the same things we want to understand better. We want to put them into categories, the political category and the economic category. But as we get on there, I want to realize that these people came mainly for economic reasons, then the other things will come on later, or the other things came on later. Why European traders came to Africa? I've said we have the economic reasons and also we have the political reasons. I will start from the economic wing because it was their gist of coming here. One, we talked of market. Remember how market was put on the other aspect, the other time? Then raw materials, and last, investment. So this came for those basic economic aspects. One is market, and two was raw materials, and three is investment. So they came basically for those as economic issues. What are the political issues discussed here? They all rotate around colonial interests. The two issues we want to discuss on the political wing are the colonial issues. One, to rule or administer colonies on behalf of their home governments. These companies were to rule or administer colonies on behalf of their home governments. And next, to defend their country's colonial interests in Africa. So you can see from that chart that we have the economic wing and the political wing. Based on that, I can therefore think that if you're faced with challenges such as, for what economic reasons did trading companies from Europe come to Africa? We shall answer based on the economic wing. For what political reasons did European trading companies come to Africa? We also answer based on the political wing, where colonial interests loom most. Our next aspect here is the IBEA. We want to give some into it about IBEA. Remember, IBEA learned about it in P5 class, also business class. William Macnun was the founder of IBEA, like we had in the other diagram. Frederick Lugard was the British representative of IBEACO in East Africa and basically in Uganda. The headquarters of IBEACO were established in Mombasa. You know very many things about IBEACO, so we can carry on. Reasons for formation of IBEACO. These children could as well be reasons for formation of all the other companies, though this IBEACO has two other looming factors that are more than the others. One, to promote legitimate trade like we had it earlier on, then to protect missionaries, then defend British colonial interests in Africa, then to stop slave trade in East Africa. To administer Uganda and Kenya on behalf of the British, because we said companies were also formed to defend colonial interests of their countries. So it's equal right that IBEACO was formed to administer Uganda and Kenya on behalf of the British. So how was IBEACO related with CMS? Did they have any relation? Yes, they had a relation. How was it? Let's calculate and see. IBEACO on one side, then CMS on the other side. That arrow is telling us that from CMS, something happened to IBEACO. CMS was giving something to IBEACO, meaning IBEACO was benefiting from CMS. What was IBEACO benefiting from CMS? I can pose a question and say, how helpful was CMS to IBEACO? CMS funded IBEACO, same as CMS provided funds to IBEACO. Or IBEACO was getting funds from CMS. But also there was another relationship. How was IBEACO serving CMS? How was CMS benefiting for funding IBEACO? That's the arrow, indicating that IBEACO was also giving something to CMS. If I could let that be letter B and shoot a question, what would be your answer? Question: how was IBEACO helpful to CMS? How was IBEACO helpful to CMS? You must have come up with some answer in there. Let me shoot my answer and check whether yours was right or wrong. So IBEACO protected CMS. CMS got protection from IBEACO. So children, that was the relationship between CMS and IBEACO. Why IBEACO withdrew from East Africa? After some time, indeed, IBEACO withdrew from East Africa. So the salient solution, the major aspect is IBEACO went bankrupt, same as IBEACO lacked funds. We could also advance the second aspect of shortage of manpower, but shortage of manpower came as a result of lacking funds. So the first point of running bankrupt or lacking funds is the basic aspect. Now, after running bankrupt, what went wrong? What went on? Why IBEACO went bankrupt? Why did it run bankrupt? One, IBEACO lacked a reliable source of income, never had income, never had a good, stable source of income. Then IBEACO employed many workers, and at times expensive workers. You can imagine employing a chief or a king. It becomes so expensive. Also, IBEACO fought many wars or many battles. Every battle requires paying funds. So IBEACO fought many battles and therefore lacked funds. IBEACO was not financially supported by her home government. Much as IBEACO was protecting government, her country's financial issues, her country's interests, it was not funded, it was not helped. It was not helped to fund its activities in here. So IBEACO lacked funds because her country never funded it, never financed it. In addition, we also discover that the funds were a major challenge. So let's see another issue. Due to overspending on her activities, IBEACO had very many activities fund, so it overspent. That marks the end of our lesson as far as that's concerned. But I want to remind you in here that let's make use of this work. It will be so bad for us to meet when many people have not gone through the work. It will be very bad. Let's ensure that we go through the work very well. The given notes equally, write them well. Keep going through the notes, because as we meet in here, we shall be trying to rush through and preparing our computers for national competition. As I said earlier on, we shall be having section B. Remember to answer it and to mark yourself right. Bye for now. We love you so much. Shall keep meeting as time permits. Bye.